realized was now I'm able to, before I couldn't walk 100 meters without losing breath. Now I can run up to 10 kilometers in 50 minutes, which
Like
is
sing.
a hi.
Okay, so since this is our first episode, I thought we would keep it light and talk about something that I think most women think about, most women want to change, but then they're unable to do anything about it. The topic actually came from you. Do you want to tell our listeners why this particular topic? Where is this coming from you?
So I actually did a number of interviews with women for part of a study called the clinical trial. So I got to talk to urban and rural women to understand their relationship with exercise and their physical body and health. So this is the starting point for me to rethink the whole thing about how we actually have a very complicated relationship with body as women. And I thought, okay, maybe I should really talk about it since you gave me the liberty to do my own research and choose my own topic. So yeah, that's where it's coming from.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about the interviews you did and what exactly is a clinical trial.
So it's just a fancy term to say that, how we take our paracetamol or whatever drugs or medical treatments, we need to see if it's really working and if it's really safe. So we basically do it on human beings. We basically test it on human beings and see if it's safe. So that is a clinical trial. So we just don't use it for drugs. We also use it for interventions and treatment and all of that fancy stuff. So we did this as part of a particular project that came in the hospital. So you remember the time I was working as a psychologist with a hospital.
Yeah.
And there I got to fortunately take part in a clinical trial. So what we did was women were coming to our clinic asking to get pregnant, having issues with pregnant. But the very easiest treatment that the doctors used to give is that just lose weight and you have a chance of getting pregnant. Isn't that all of us want to hear? That don't take meds, don't take treatments. But then these women, despite of this easiest, medicine or the treatment they've given, they would still come back not exercising. So we all thought together, why is that? What's happening? So we did a qualitative research. Basically, qualitative research is we do interviews with women to understand what's happening. So that's what happened. We interviewed women and we had a lot of difference that we saw with urban and rural women. So, which is because we did it in South India with the Andhra and majorly Andhra and Tamil Nadu. So yeah, that's something that came up.
Why exactly do you think this different exists? Why do you think like rural or urban women are not able to actually do something as simple as exercising?
Um, at that time, when I was doing research and when I was going through all the interviews, rereading their what they've said, somehow for exercise is a very foreign concept for us. It was not part of our culture. So normally women were, yoga was part of our culture, walking was part of our culture, but not really exercise for women as such. And women in rural in India, they actually told me that they do a lot of household work. They wake up at 4 o'clock, they do the cleaning, they have to go to the farming, and they have to take care of the cows and all of these things. This is a lot of work. Physically, it's very exhausting.
Yeah.
And they said this is enough for me as a physical this one, and whenever I get time I want to rest. So that
Wait,
makes sense.
wait, that isn't enough, is what you're saying?
I'm not saying that isn't enough. I'm saying that isn't the case for everyone. It's just one or two women who actually do that. But most of the women just doing, like, say, putting, because we now have, you also have to consider the majority, right? So not everyone is going doing the proper washing with the hands. We have washing machine, we have cleaning, we have even maids. So the thing is, it's not the same anymore. But the thing is, that has been equated as a household work. somehow.
Mm.
Another thing is, in terms of the urban women, what I saw was they were exercising, they were doing all that before marriage. They were like, okay, I need to get a husband, so I will do exercise. I need to have a, child, so now I might try exercise. But then exercise is never a thing so that they will feel good or they will feel healthy or they will lose weight. There was only one woman, interestingly, she said she wanted to fit into a favorite dress of hers. That's
Mm.
something that she always wanted. But whenever she wanted to do that for exercising for that, she said, I feel guilty and selfish because I'm not thinking about baby, I'm thinking about myself. And she felt ashamed and guilty. So yeah, that's something that's been there among these women. It really intrigued me. It like really like pressed on me. Like, why would this happen?
Do you think this is like a cultural thing where we as women in India feel guilty for doing something that's good for us? Uh, do you think other the women in other cultures have it easy when it comes to doing something for themselves?
I think considering the collectivistic and individualistic framework, we are of
Mm,
course changing nowadays, which
yeah.
is why we see women are also changing in terms of their thought process, but still we are not there yet. So I think in other cultures that individualistic mindset tends to at least make them think about themselves. What do I want?
Mm.
Instead of saying what do my family want, what do my mother-in-law want, what do my husband want, we never think like that, right? So I think it's just our culture is that way, which has made us think this way.
To kind of demonstrate this whole difference between cultures, right? You stayed for like almost 2 years in the UK. Do you want to like reflect on your observation of the women there? Do you think they were much more pro, self-care when it came to exercising, when it came to, moving your body, being comfortable with your body?
Yeah, like when I went to the UK, I was like really jealous of those women, to be honest,
Oh.
because because you should see them. So when I was interested in trekking, right? So I
Yeah.
used to go on a trek, and I saw old couples above the age of 70 coming together for trekking with their husband, packing all these snacks and all of this backpack, and then just trekking up. And they, of course, they were faster than me. They were like really faster than me. And okay, I have to, so this is a women's channel, I think we can say it. Those, how they say after a certain age a boobs sag, right? These women had such a good body, older women, and their boobs were not sagging. It was so fit.
Are you sure it
And
was natural though?
it was not big. It's just like she was very slender woman. They're all slender. They were not any exaggerated stuff.
That's
But I would
another difference,
say
right, in our culture. You don't find many slender women here.
yeah, which is very weird because they you do eat a lot of not so great things. We have a lot of great, healthier options in our diet, but still, I think the culture is such a way there women start like even after they are married, their life still goes on. Like they go for running with their babies in the stroller, they run 5 kilometers, and they like play their sports or tennis, they bring their babies all along, so their life doesn't stop
Sounds
despite of
exciting,
them.
right?
Yeah, it does. Like I
Like
wish like we had always thought about us have it all, they basically having it all.
having it all sounds a little stressful, but having it sounds fun. Like having
Yeah.
what you want, yeah. Having it all, no, thank you.
Superwoman.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So yeah, like that was a significant thing I got from that culture, and I used to also come back and say to my mothers and my grandmothers, see how what they are doing. They are so active, they are so living their life basically. And even I was babysitting this child who's a 13-year-old. Her mother, every day after her work, she was a psychologist as well. She was an educational psychologist. And every day after work, she'll go for cycling. Like she put all her gears in proper cycling gears and she'll go for cycling. She used to go for like her running and all of this. And grandmother, she's a single lady, her husband died. But then she's a dancer. She goes around the world doing dance workshops, and she also has a boyfriend. So who she introduced to her daughter.
You sound a little judgmental here, but okay.
Also jealous, a little bit jealous.
Okay, jealous makes more sense. Judgment.
Yeah.
I'm a little curious. Was the boyfriend younger?
No, he is
No.
also an old man, old,
Oh,
handsome man.
that's interesting. Okay. So what do you think it is about our culture that makes it so hard for us to do what's right for us? Because you said, right, there was one lady who was doing it to actually fit into her favorite dress, but she was so ashamed because what kind of a woman is she that she wants to do something for a selfish reason? So why do you think our culture makes us hate ourselves?
Um, I don't know, but I could only think of the study and also as a woman because there's a lot of societal expectations that is on a woman. In India, we are a woman goddess is like worshipped, right? But then as a woman, like we say that even when they get married, that you have to be a certain way, like you have to be very feminine, you have to be really kind and soft and selfless, and all of these expectations are not overtly told us, but that's something that we keep hearing growing up. We've seen our mothers and grandmothers. So all these have shifted our thoughts. Even when girls are dating these days, you can see their boyfriends having these expectations put on them, like you have to be certain way, you should you should not dress a certain way, you should look very homely and conservative, and all these things are something that we are grown with. And if we didn't have that freedom of thought, I don't think any woman would want to question it. So I think all this is coming from the place of not questioning these standards that set for us as a woman.
But I don't you think like these standards also come with like privilege? So let's say in India you're fair and you're thin, right?
Hmm.
You don't really have to physically move so much, right? Like technically you're seen as someone fit because you match the beauty standards. So
Hmm.
for women who are not obese or don't have diseases, uh, again you see that there's no pressure to work out, right? So when you
Hmm.
talk so much about standards, society standards, uh, how do you actually convince these women that physical health is linked to movement, even if you look good? Because whatever you said, right, you were constantly talking about how it's just about looking a certain way. So how do we get out of this thing where physical health is not just about how you look, it's about something that goes much deeper?
Hmm. Yeah, I think for this, the only answer I would give is from my personal experience, is because like I've been extremely thin, not a good way of thin, basically underweight. And I, of
But
course,
that's
didn't
like considered a
exercise.
good standard, right? Size zero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
underweight was considered a good standard. And I think because of that, I used to also not eat much, but after a while, I started to, even when I ate a little or when I ate like junk food, it didn't really touch my body, right? But after a certain age, say around 24, 25, it started showing, right? When I started
How
having
did
junk
it
food,
start showing?
like I started having, like, even though I was thin, I did gain like a lot of weight on my tummy, like a little bit on the tummy. And then I started getting oily in the
Mm.
face, and my acne started flaring up, and I started feeling very sluggish and fatigued and all of this. So in general, I felt very unhappy with my body. I was thin, yes. I may have been matching up to the beauty standard, but then it was not a happy place to be. If I want to walk,
I
I
have a
was like,
question
what?
here. Uh, were you following the same routine when this change started to happen? So you said until 24, there was nothing showing off as problematic. But from
Hmm,
24 aroundish, you started to get these symptoms. So was
hmm.
there any change in your lifestyle? Like, did you do something different, or it just like one random day your body started to respond this way?
I think it's the cumulative effect of not working out, not taking care of my body, not really caring about what I eat, how I live, and whether I need to take care. I did take care of my body at all. And how it showed was I got extremely sick. I used to be even sick before, but I
Mm.
got extremely sick. I got typhoid and I lost a lot of weight. Like on top of what I didn't have, I lost even more weight. And then I had to be admitted in the hospital. So it was like a very, one after another, it was a very bad
Scary.
consequence. Yeah, it was scary. And then I thought, okay, I need to do something because I cannot be the needy helpless person all my life, because I want to work, I want to see the world, I want to play, I want to run, I want to feel good. I don't want to like sleep in bed all the time. So yeah, I started to work out slowly, and I started to increase my diet. I started to look at my diet. I changed my diet, and eventually, what I realized was now I'm able to, before I couldn't walk 100 meters without losing breath. Now I can run up to 10 kilometers in 50 minutes, which is
Flexing.
yeah, flexing it. I need to flex it.
Yeah,
So
you
this
should.
all came from, I also got I went to the doctor and I got my blood work done. And as every Indian woman would be, I had no blood.
By no blood, you mean anemia, right?
Of course. I thought it would be funny. So
It,
basically, I got my blood work done and then realized that I was like in a very worse situation in terms of my anemia. And then they gave me some iron meds. And, before that, I tried running, I tried all of that, and I still used to gasp for breath. So usually, what happens is when you start running, you should get better in a month's time. In terms of running, you should not gasp as much because your heart should, and your heart, your lungs should, adapt.
yeah,
And
you
then I
build
was like,
strength over
never,
time.
yeah. And then I never understood why I'm not improving despite of me trying months and months of running. Then after I took my iron meds, I ran my first 5K and I was not gasping for breath. And that was like a eye opening for my, like in terms of my life. And then I was like able to climb stairs and not like gasping. And I'm like able to stay energetic throughout the day, because I
Mm.
remember I used to sleep all the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
And because
I
I
think I
feel,
remember like when we were in college, this is the way you introduce yourself, like I can sleep for like minimum 14 hours every day.
the
You
girl I used to babysit said the same thing, and I asked her to get her blood work done to her parents,
okay.
and she realized they found out that she has anemia, and now she can actually is not sleeping that much. And I realized sleeping a lot is not a flex; it's actually your body's way of telling you that something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I feel very energetic.
It's
My
pretty
energy,
interesting, right? You're like, wow, this is how normal people live.
yeah.
They have
My
so much
friend even said
energy.
that this is how you people are feeling every day. I feel so energetic. That was my
Yeah.
first week. I was like, okay, I can go, I can stand, I can be without sleeping the whole day. And that was really something which is what I want to tell the people is you might be matching up to the beauty standard. You might be thin, you might be not having to exercise, but we are not doing this to look good, to look a certain figure or to look certain way. It's for us to do what we want to do. I don't want to be sleeping 12, 15 hours a day when I want to go meet my friends, or when I want to go play, or when I want to go hang out, or when I want to travel and carry my own backpack, not expect a man to do it. So, yeah, this is what I want to do. So, I'm saying this is why you should all exercise, you know?
Yeah. I think, where in some ways we associate strength with being a man and softness and weakness with being a woman. So even this
Hmm.
thing of like, having ambitions, having this energy to do things might come off as like, oh, am I still good enough to be like am I good enough when I do that? Because I'm a woman, I'm not supposed to be doing this, right? There's a sort of guilt that comes with, I think, being in the Indian context where if you do choose to be strong, um, you kind of play it in a way that you still could appear as a woman. I don't know if I'm making sense, because I think like growing up, I was always into sports. My school, my college, like it was always, very pro physical activity. There was no stopping me to kind of do things. So, which is why it was very surprising when you said women don't like moving, because I grew up with like, women who were very pro moving, pro physical activity,
Hmm.
pro exercise, pro sports, right? But then I realized that even when you're doing it as part of like a compulsory routine, right? When in school, every Tuesdays and Wednesdays you have to do it. Practice is something that you do without really thinking about it. So it's normal. But then as an adult, when I started to work and when I started to do my whatever I needed to do. Physical activity was not part of my routine naturally. So I got sick. There was a period of time when I was not feeling really great. And when I decided to get back into, like this exercise routine, I think one thing that really made me, sit and think about this whole new routine was how much there was, like you said, more energy, but it was also something about how it became comfortable to own my own body, to exist in my own body. Like,
Hmm.
there was so much control that came into my life, like that I had over my life once I was able to control just my body. So this has nothing to do with beauty standards. It was not because I changed dramatically with my physique. All that, maybe happened slowly, but didn't happen, at once. But what happened very instantaneously was this change where I felt like, oh wow, I can feel my body more. I have more control. My spatial intelligence, if you can call it that, my kinesthetic intelligence, if you can call it that, was better, and that is
Hmm.
something that I'm really proud of. It felt healthy. I do not know how else to explain it.
And one thing that really struck with me when you said it is like it is very easier for you to exist within your body, right? So I think many of us, including me, have had this problem of staying within our body, being okay with existing in our body, because most women feel disappointed whenever they work out and they feel disgusted about their body. I remember I went to buy a jeans, okay? At that time, I had gained a little weight in my lower tummy and it was popping out. Whenever I wore any jeans, it was not fitting the right way. And that girl, I said, no, I told her, the girl who was helping me out with the jean, who was working there, I said, like, I look fat. I don't feel good in this jean. And she said, no, you're like really wrong. Let me get you the perfect jeans for your body type. And then she got me that. And I really felt pretty, you know, like it's just that it's not, we are not the problem. We are not, we are being told about these things, how we are supposed to be a certain way. We are supposed to think certain things and we are not supposed to think about ourselves. We are not supposed to exist within ourselves. I think that is a problem. The thoughts are the problem. We are not the problem. And I think the only way to get out of this sort of discomfort or a love hate relationship with our body is by starting to do something for our body, and it has to start with exercise and working out, just so you feel good. And we are not changing anything. We are not changing our body type. We are not going to change our body shape. But it's all about, at the end of the day, we want to feel a certain way. I think
Yeah.
I would say in that end, the only key takeaway which you want to have to take is that gets moving so that nobody is saying anything to you. Nobody has, you start to feel confident once you start doing all of this. You start to feel like, okay, basically, because, when I started working out and when I started feeling stronger, I started having uh, desires and goals, and I started achieving those goals in my workplace, in my career, and in my life. And I also started dressing up, which is not something that I do. You remember that
Yeah.
I started wearing makeup. I started wearing good clothes. I wanted to experiment all of this because I was feeling good. I was feeling confident. And when I went out and I spoke to people, I felt like I was being assertive instead of, saying, yes for everything. I was being able to set my boundaries right. So life was like falling in place just by putting one thing right, which is working out. It was difficult. I wouldn't say that being having that consistency is, hard, but I'm not asking you to push yourself to that extreme of doing exercise. Just a 30 minutes of yoga, or just putting some dance, just doing something random things that makes you feel good, just would actually be enough, don't you think?
Yeah, I think like for beginners, right, for someone who's planning to start moving, because the goal is not to lose weight or any specific thing. This is not like really a fitness regimen plan,
Mm.
but like just to get started, I think your goal has to be to kind of increase your control over your own body. Like maybe, if you are someone who walks, like you said, right, 100 meters and you're panting, that's fine. So start with like maybe 100 meters every day. So
Mm.
after like 6 days, after on the seventh day, you'll realize that you are no longer panting. So if
Mm.
you're still panting, then like you said, right, I think they have to go and get their blood work done and see what's wrong.
Yeah.
So uh, just start moving in like the smallest way possible. And this is just a small way to say, I love your body, because I think sometimes your body requires, just like, how we want people to say it, confess it, and not just confess it, but also show us that what they say is what they mean. We need to do that like to ourselves as well, and our bodies deserve
And
that.
I want to say one thing is exercise is not a punishment you give yourself for eating something or doing something. It's not a punishment that you
Yeah.
run, you do this, you do that. Just do it like because that is gonna make you feel a better person. This is a love. This is a love language that you have to teach your body. It's not a punishment.
Yeah, so that kind of makes sense, because then you would always associate exercising with like a bad uh feeling. It's always
Hmm.
after you either overeat or do something, and then exercising becomes uh not something fun for you. And that's not what we want, because it is something that's fun for your body, so might as well have fun with it too. I think this is like a good place for us to conclude this episode. How are you feeling? You
Yeah.
shared a lot. Personal
Yeah,
stuff as well.
I feel very, to be honest, I feel very understood. And I also feel not alone at all because at that one point I had felt that. So yeah, it was a really good conversation that I had with you. Thank you.
um, to people who are listening. I hope whoever is listening to us, you guys can get a little bit more excited about moving, about exercising. Even if it's not easy, start small and let that excitement kind of slowly build up. And hopefully, you'll have more physically, adventurous things to do in the future because you started small. And I think, with the new year and the new me vibe, it's a great you know, vibe or mood to begin the new year with as well.
Yeah.
Like, like the video, share, subscribe, the whole jazz. And until next time, bye.
Ta-ta.